ladies, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah and I'm coming live to you today for our first Technique Tuesday for 2026, albeit on a Wednesday, and I'm a week behind due to holidays, but I'm going to be sharing with you this week's scrapbooking challenge, which would be, it is week 1 for January, and so we're going to have a little bit of an overlap somewhere in the month of January with a couple of layouts, but we are starting with week 1 January's layout, and we are creating a double page spread this week. So before I get into that, I just want to start by saying a very happy new year to you all, and thank you so much for your patience with me while I've taken a very extended break. I think that's the longest break I've ever had out of my business in almost 24 years, and so I'm ready and raring and rocking to go for 2026, and I'm super excited to be sharing another fun-filled year of scrapbooking, memory keeping and crafting with you all, helping you to document your precious memories and share your stories. So let's get started. We are starting with I'm a little croaky, I do apologize. Would you believe I actually got sick while we were away? The day that we went to Hallstatt in Austria, we took a day trip from Salzburg to Hallstatt, and I went through 2 rounds of antibiotics. And would you believe I'm still croaky and still coughing a little? So I think I might have to take a trip to the doctors again to see what is going on. But we're here, and I've got my water close by. So if I do clear my throat a little during this live, please bear with me, but this cough is just not going away. Okay, so we are creating a double page spread this week. We are working with pattern 3H on page 47. We are still in the sidebar section of the Reflection Scrapbook program. We're going back to basics, and we are turning a single page into a double page spread. And what I've actually done for this week is I have actually used the main pattern for my right hand side page, which is the master pattern, and then I've used the alternate as my left hand side page because this actually suited my photos best. So I've got 6 3x3 inch photos on my left hand side, and then on my right hand side, which is the master pattern, I've just spun that around so the sidebar is on the right hand side. And then I've got 2 photos here. This is the master pattern that I've put on the right hand side page. And instead of doing 2 5x7 inch photos, I have got 2 4x6 inch photos. And then I've added a third 4x6 inch photo here on my layout. Now, all of these photos have been matted. There are no cutting instructions for the mats, but just to walk you through those, because these are 4x6 inch photos, I have used the color Cloud Cover to cut some cardstock at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and then these 6 photos, because they were cut at 3x3, I have cut my photo mats at 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and that's how I've ended up with those perfect edges around the outside. So to create your layout for this week, you're going to need 2 sheets of base cardstock, coordinating cardstock, or you could use designer series paper if you want to, but you will need the 12x12 inch base, because then we're going to stick these paper dimensions down on the left and the right hand side to create the sidebar pattern for your layout. So these outside pieces have been cut, so everything's at 12 inches width, and you're going to be sticking that from top to bottom, starting on the outside and working your way in. So these 2 outside sheets of paper have been cut at 2.5 width. And then this old olive strip of paper through the middle here between the 2 blues, this is cut at 1/2 inch. And then this piece of paper here is cut at 1 inches. And then you're starting from the outside, working your way in with the thicker piece, the 1/2 inch piece in the middle, and then the 1 each piece here as well. Now, in terms of positioning my photos, I actually started with this bottom 3x3 inch photo here, And I started that with positioning that 1/2 inch up and 1/2 inch in. And I did that with my top photo as well, 1/2 inch down and 1/2 inch in. And then I've left a 1/2 inch between all of these photos. And these ones I just eyeballed through the center to evenly space that between here and there. So it's slightly bigger than 1/2 inch, I would anticipate. Now my 4x6 inch photos, I wanted them to be centered. I didn't want this really big waste of space sort of through the middle. So I've actually left a 1/2 inch gap between my two 4x6 inch photos. Now the 6 inch would be running through the middle of the page. And I've stuck this one 1/4 inch up from the 6 and this one 1/4 inch down from the 6. And this is how I've ended up with that perfect 1/2 inch gap. And then this was an extra photo that I added on because A, I had the space, and B, it was a portrait photo. So this one I've stuck over the outside of my paper strips and also the ribbon. So that is the base for your layout today. Quite simple. You can see that I've added a flip flap on here. So your layout has got room here for two 4x6 inch landscape photos. However, I only had 1, 2, 3 landscape photos. But these I've cut down to 3x4 inches, and then I've stuck them on the top of my photo mat, and that's replaced where a 4x6 inch landscape photo would be. I've used a flip flap here on the top of my layout. So typically what I do with my flip flaps is the best photo or the one most pertinent to the story, or just for whatever reason it might be special. I've actually put that on the top, and I've opted for this photo because it's got obviously the sign, Bondi Beach. And if you read my scrapbooking post that I put up yesterday with this week's challenge, I actually debated whether I would use these photos given unfortunately the events that happened there before Christmas. However, I had actually printed these photos. I put this order through in November before we went overseas, and I forgot that I'd actually added these photos to the order. And my beautiful daughter Kayla picked my photos up for me while we were traveling overseas, and they were actually here on my desk when I got home from holidays, and I went through them and sorted and organized them, and I had a whole heap of Christmas related photos that I'd printed, but I'd also printed these, I think because there was the Christmas tree in there. But the colors of the photos just went so beautifully with this paper collection, and I'm excited to be starting with a fresh new paper collection for 2026. So we've got a couple of people that have joined us live today. Hi Doreen, hi Sonia, happy new year. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's talk about the papers that I've used today are actually left over from my currently loving scrapbooking workshop kit. So the remainder of the designer series paper and the coordinating cardstock I have popped here in the bag. Now, a little trick that I like to do, this is a good tip. When you purchase a scrapbooking workshop kit, you get this white sheet of 12 by 12 inch card, which has got all the product details on here. I actually just cut that down and stick it on the front of the bag. And this tells me which are the coordinating colors that have gone into creating this particular color scheme for the scrapbooking workshop kit. I did also invest in a second packet of the designer series paper. So the scrapbooking workshop kit is called Currently Loving. However, it coordinates with the Lovely Blossoms scrapbooking from scratch papers and the Lovely Blossoms Sweet collection as well. I know it's a little confusing, but the reason for that being is that the names of the scrapbooking workshop kits are different to the Sweet because we don't want to give the assumption that the scrapbooking workshop kit forms part of the Sweet collection. It does not. Okay, so the color scheme, the patterns, they're all the same, they all coordinate, but the name of the scrapbooking workshop kit is going to be different to the Sweet. Okay, just to explain that. So I have actually used all of the papers that I've used on my layout this week are left over from my scrapbooking workshop kit, with the exception of the base cardstock, which I've used as cloud cover. And then I needed 2 sheets of crumb cake to cut down my photo mats. So I have, as I mentioned, invested in a second packet of the designer series paper, and I'm going to share those patterns with you shortly. And I'm also going to show you the coordinating cardstock and also some of the additional products that I have used. You can purchase components of those products separately, which I love, and quite often I will buy them because the scrapbooking workshop kit, for example, didn't come with any dots or bling or gems, and these are the Moody Palette Glossy Dots. These are self-adhesive. You can see we've got them in White Willow, Cloud Cover, Old Olive and Secret Sea, and these coordinate with the scrapbooking workshop kit, but I bought these separately because I'm going to add them onto my layouts. Now, I haven't yet created the layouts for the scrapbooking workshop kit, but I plan to do that within the next couple of days, and I'll be posting them in our Facebook group and in the My Project section of my website for those of you that are booked in for my first event for the year, January 24, my all-day summer fun scrapbooking event. I will have these layouts on display for you, plus the current weekly scrapbooking challenges as well. So I did purchase this separately in addition to, and I also purchased in addition to the scrapbooking workshop kit, this gorgeous cloud cover textured ribbon, which is what I've used to create with on my layout this week, and what I have what I'm going to be sharing with you as part of our Technique Tuesday. So this ribbon is 5/8 in width. It's a gorgeous texture ribbon, and I've actually used just my Stampin' Seal Plus to stick this ribbon down onto my layout, okay? And then I've just put a little bit of the white cardstock over the top of that ribbon. I'm going to stick that down a bit more. I've just put some white cardstock, scrap cardstock there, over the top just to hold that down really nicely. I've got a little bit of the Stampin' Seal Plus here, and then I've put some more adhesive just up the top here. But this is a really cute technique by just tying this little knot here in the ribbon, and then the other piece here, I've cut that down and I've stuck that underneath my journal box. So this journal box measures, I think it's 2 by 3 inches, and I've stuck this over the top of the ribbon, so it gives the illusion that the pattern of the ribbon is continuing. However, it's just been tied off in a little knot here. And then this little square here is 2 by 2 inches, and I'm going to share that with you shortly. You actually get some sheets of what we call cut aparts, and they're all different sizes. I'm going to share them with you, and these were left over from my scrapbooking workshop kit. So I've just cut this down, a little 2 by 2 inch square, pop that over my sidebar pattern here, and then one of the stickers left over from the scrapbooking workshop kit was called On This Day, and I've just popped some Stampin' Dimensionals. These are like your 3D foam tape. I've just popped some Stampin' Dimensionals underneath this sticker here, and then pop this over the top to make a little title banner there. And then we've got some of the little Secret Sea dots here as a little bit of a bling embellishment. So because I hadn't yet created the 3 double page layouts from the scrapbooking workshop kit, I had to make a note using the guide. So I love the scrapbooking workshops because you will create 3 double page spreads, but it's got all of your cutting instructions at the front of the guide. So you cut all of your papers and your cardstock down, and you'll use them across 3 layouts. And then you've got your assembly, your prep and your assembly instructions for each of the 3 double page layouts. So typically I will create my scrapbooking workshop kit for the month first, and then I use the leftovers to create my weekly scrapbooking challenges. But because I needed to get my challenges up, I am already a week behind. I went through my guide. This is a great tip. I went through my guide, and just using a lead pencil, I just made a little mark next to the stickers that I couldn't use for my weekly scrapbooking challenge because they're going to be used on my layouts for my scrapbooking workshop kit. So you can actually purchase the papers. So I'm just going to grab these. You can actually purchase the designer series paper with the stickers, but because you get the stickers in the scrapbooking workshop kit, there's typically enough left over for you to use on alternate layouts without having to buy a second sheet of stickers with papers, unless of course it is a suite that you really love and that you think that you're going to use a lot of. So there's some gorgeous sentiments on here. We've got wish list, cherish every day, family time, the best, beloved, create joy, picture perfect, milestones, memorable milestones. So the whole point behind the currently loving theme is that you're kind of scrapbooking like the here and the now, but it is also okay to go back and scrapbook photos that you have already printed. I'm also really excited about this particular color palette because I think that if you were to print your photos in black and white, I think black and white photos look absolutely stunning with this particular scrapbooking workshop kit and suite collection as well. So that's just some little tips for you. Now, I don't have the PDF to show you in detail this suite because I haven't yet been to Officeworks to print that off since I've returned from holidays. However, if you are on my mailing list, I did send my January monthly newsletter earlier today, and in there is a link to the January 2026 online exclusives product list. You can click on that link and it opens up in a separate PDF file, which you can download, you can print it, save it as a bookmark or a favorite in your web browser. And they are online exclusives, which means you are not going to see them in your printed copy of your January mini catalogue. So typically I would be referring to the mini catalogue when I'm sharing a scrapbooking weekly challenge with you, because the products that we would be working with would be in this mini catalogue. But for January, the currently loving scrapbooking workshop kit and its coordinating products are part of the January online exclusives. So an online exclusive means that you can only view them online or from that PDF document that I was just referencing earlier. So let's get into the technique of using the textured ribbon. So you can use any textured ribbon on your scrapbooking layout. You can see here that I have kind of really winged it in terms of cutting my ribbon length. So you'll need your paper snip scissors for that. And we're just going to cut a little bit of excess ribbon off of that there. Don't worry too much if that frays, because you're actually going to pop this on your layout and you're going to wrap it around the paper. So you're going to want to put a little bit of your stamp and seal on the cardstock, wrap the ribbon over to stick that down, and then you may wish to put some scrap white willow or white daisy cardstock over the top just to hold that there in place. And before I cut that off, I actually did tie, I might show it to you here, I actually did tie my little knot first of all before I cut that off. And as I mentioned, don't worry too much if this frays, because it will just add to the embellishment there. If it's bothering you, you can try. You can see that's actually fraying really easily. If it's bothering you, you can actually just cut that off and then start afresh if you wish. But it kind of actually looks fun to distress that a little bit and pull that apart. Also, you can use your tweezers or your snip scissors to be able to do that. So what I did was actually tie the knot. I actually tied the knot on the end of my ribbon first of all, and then I decided how long I wanted to cut that off before I wrap that underneath. And then on the other side here at the top, you're going to do the same with that piece of ribbon here, except you're going to stick that underneath, whether this is a journaling box or an embellishment cluster that you want to create on your sidebar. That's going to go in and underneath to give the illusion that the ribbon is running all the way through, but you've got this cute little knot embellishment sitting on top of your layout there. And as you can see here, just going to wrap this up. Now you can use this ribbon, of course, on cards, on your scrapbook layout, on paper craft projects. Quite often I will gift wrap gift bags or gift tags with leftover ribbons. Once I finish working with that particular suite for the month and teaching with it, I will quite often use my leftover ribbons for gift wrapping and gift tags as well, so they never go to waste. The reason that I would recommend that you use your Stamp & Seal Plus to stick this down is that the Stamp & Seal Plus is a stronger adhesive, and it does work really well with this style of textured ribbon. And you can see that when you've got that in your memory protector, this has got, this one's already in my memory protector because I had a flip flap on top. So you can see here that I haven't actually stuck that down as such, but I could pop a little bit of the adhesive just underneath there and just press that down. But when you slide your layout into your memory protector, it's not going to necessarily ruin the embellished look that you're going for with the cute little knot in your ribbon. So what I've done here is I've got my knot embellishment at the top left hand side, and then I've got it on the bottom right hand corner here. So I've just reversed the technique. And similar again, I've got my ribbon wrapped around the back, and I've just stuck some extra cardstock there to reinforce that. And you would normally typically have seen that there, but when I realized, oh, hang on a second, I've got room for an extra photo here, I incorporated this 4x6 inch one into it here. Now these little squares, as I mentioned before, were the 2x2 cut apart from the designer series paper. So I've actually just stuck that over the top of the ribbon just to create my embellishment cluster here. I've popped one of the stickers over the top from my sticker sheet, and then you've got a series of numbers from 1 to 10 from the Currently Loving. So you could use this as a birthday number, a milestone date, an anniversary. I've actually opted for the number 5 here because these photos were taken on the 5th, and I've just done some journaling here about that. So these photos are a little over a year old. So from 2024, we took a trip to Sydney for Jai's 20th birthday, and we spent half a day at Bondi having brunch. Darren and I went for a walk on the beach, and then we went all the way around, did the coastal walk and the cliff walk, while the kids sat on the grass in the shade and just vegged out. So super cute way to embellish your layouts using the cut aparts from the designer series paper. And then I've just embellished with some of the glossy Moody palette glossy dots as well. Now, in addition to this range with alternate products that you can create with, we've got the Lovely Stripes embossing folder. I can't wait to use this. So this measures 6 by 6 1/4. You can use this in your Stampin' Cut embossing and die cutting machine. This is going to create a really beautiful pattern. So I can't wait to use that in my layouts and share that with you later on in January. And I also invested in a pack of the Covered in Flowers accents, which coordinate with this collection. So they will come white. They're a die cut, laser cut, so they punch out really easily. You could keep them white, but a really fun technique would be to actually sponge color them with ink using coordinating inks that go with this particular suite. So stay tuned. You will see me do something fun with that for January. So let's have a look at the papers in a little bit more detail now. So I mentioned earlier that I invested in a second pack of the designer series paper, and you get 12 sheets, but you're going to get 3 of the same pattern. So we've got this striped old olive pattern on one side, and then you've got the petal pink with the Secret Sea and white willow flowers on the other. And then you've got another 3 sheets with this Secret Sea diamond pattern, and then the white willow and the cloud cover floral pattern on the other side. So designer series paper, DSP. That's what the Designer Series Paper DSP stands for. Here we've got the Petal Pink. This is just a cute little floral pattern. And then on the back, we've got some cloud cover with the old olive and the white florals. These were the cutter parts that I was talking about earlier. So you've got this cloud cover stripe pattern, which you could use horizontally or vertically. And then on the back here, we've got the cutter parts. So these measure 4x6, and you could use these vertically or horizontally on your layout. These two look quite effective if they were to be vertical. And then you've got another strip through the middle here, which would measure 3x4 inches. And then you've got these smaller squares measuring 2x2. So 6 and 4, 10 and 12. So you could cut these down. If you're still doing pocket scrapbooking, you could use these cutter parts in your pocket scrapbooking layouts. You could pop them in your flip flaps. Quite often I might have a flip flap and I don't have another photo to go in the other side. So this is where I could put one of those 4x6 inch cutter part patterns in there. It's just an added embellishment piece, decorative, that you can use in your scrapbooking. But you can see how all these colors coordinate so beautifully together. So you actually get all of those patterns except for these, I think, in the scrapbooking workshop kit. So it's important to note that with the Designer Series paper packs, the scrapbooking workshop kit has exclusive papers that go in there, and then not all of the paper from the Designer Series paper pack is in the scrapbooking workshop kit also, and that is to help keep the cost of the kit down. For example, this pattern is actually not in, is that one there, or is that exclusive paper? Oh, maybe that is it there. Yeah. Okay, this is the exclusive paper here. So there will be some situations where you won't actually double up on the paper, which sometimes is fun because some of you go, oh my gosh, I want that paper as well as that one. And these are the coordinating cardstock colours. So we've got White Willow and we've got Petal Pink. Now these are all two-tone cardstocks, so you will see the lighter variation of the original colour. We've got Old Olive. You've got Secret Sea, which is a really nice navy blue. I love the lighter colour of that as well. This is Crumb Cake. So this is the colour that I've used to cut my photo mats down in. And I've used the lighter tone of Crumb Cake on my challenge for this week. And then we've got Cloud Cover, which is also a really big favourite as well. And coordinating with the dots. So the cardstock pack, there is a coordinating cardstock pack that you can purchase in its entirety if you want to have 2 sheets of each of the colours. Or for those of you that are attending my workshops in person, you can you can purchase your scrapbooking cardstock as you need individually. I buy them in bulk packs and you can just grab them as you need. So that is a little bit of an introduction to this month's scrapbooking workshop kit and palette that I'm working with. Currently loving / Lovely Blossoms. I hope that you are excited for our scrapbooking challenges this year. Shout out to Deb and Michelle who have joined us live. Thanks so much for watching, ladies. I hope that you are inspired. I can't wait to see what you are going to create. And guys, guess what? Oh, Nicole's here. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for popping in. Now, as many of you know, I was away from my business for 7 weeks. However, I did schedule 7 weeks worth of scrapbooking challenges, weekly scrapbooking challenges. And I pre-recorded my videos before I left and loaded them into our Facebook group. And I have actually made my way through all of the entries for November. So what I have in here, very high-tech drawings, little bits of paper with everyone's names on them. And one lucky winner that I draw from here for the November weekly scrapbooking challenges is going to win $50 worth of my stamping rewards that I'm going to gift to you electronically. I'm going to pop them in your account this afternoon. I'm still working my way through December, so I'm going to post a separate video for the December winner, but I have November here ready to go. I'm going to turn around so I can pick someone. Excuse me for just a moment. Okay, my back is turned and I have one piece of paper and the lucky winner is Chris Grant. Christine, you are the lucky winner for our November weekly scrapbooking challenges. I'm going to be in contact with you. I'll tag you in this post for sure, but I'm going to be in contact with you via email and I'm going to gift you $50 worth of stamping rewards into your Stampin' Up account. Now, if you ever win Stampin' Rewards, guys, you actually only have 3 months to redeem them. So typically when you earn your Stamping Rewards, you have 12 months to redeem your rewards. But if I gift you Stamping Rewards, they only have a 3-month expiration date. So you can check the expiry date of your Stampin' Rewards in your Stampin' Rewards account. Just log in the top right hand corner where it says hello Sarah. You'll log in, click on your little gift or your present, and that will take you to your Stampin' Rewards account where you can track what you've earned and what you've redeemed your rewards on. So thank you all for watching today, ladies. I will post this video to our Facebook group. Just a friendly reminder that Facebook deletes these videos after 30 days because they are live, but you can always go back and watch the replays on my YouTube channel, Scrapbooking with Sarah Shipton. Have a great week, everyone. I can't wait to see what you create with this week's challenge. Bye for now.